Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Things are going to look a little bit different from here on out, but I'm still going to be here to help. So, um, really quick, let me go over the overall activity description and the directions. So, first, anytime you see a green space like this, you're going to complete an activity. What that means is that you can type in your answers. So, you're going to type in your answers on those green spaces in the slides. So, your activity for today, you are going to explore the experience of adolescence by reading an excerpt from S.E. Hinton's novel, The Outsiders. The text explores the conflicts and violence that face teenagers and their two rival gangs in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 1960s. You will read the full excerpt and then use the STEAL method to analyze the character Johnny. Throughout the week, you will gather evidence to answer the essential question: what challenges do young people face when developing their own sense of identity or self? So, this is actually something that I think we've talked about before. I've mentioned Maslow's hierarchy of needs with you. I've mentioned how at your age it is the most important thing that you fit in. It might not be the general population. I'm not saying everybody feels this way, but at your age, it is common that you are really, really interested in fitting in with the people around you. So that's something that can actually really skew your sense of identity yourself, because a lot of you might find yourselves doing things or saying things that might not really feel like yourself just so you can fit in. So it's kind of this question's kind of trying to get you to understand what challenges are you facing right now. So it's kind of like a look inside of yourself. What am I facing as a person, and what challenges do other young people face? So the directions. The dog came here. Oh, isn't this such a cute moment? Okay, and then as quickly as he comes, he leaves. All right, so first, read the background information and watch the video summary of the full novel. I'm going to go through everything with you, so I'm going to help you through everything. Next, read the full excerpt, and then finally, review the slide explaining the STEAL method of characterization, and then answer the questions on each slide, completing your analysis of Johnny. So, while things looked a little different today, we are still going to do characterization, so I am going to be able to help you understand the difference between character traits and emotions, which is something I'm going to mention. So if you are listening intently to this, you will get that small piece of information that I wanted to make sure that I got with you today. If you need additional help on the activity, you can go to slide 7. I will go through slide 7 with you. So again, I'll be here to help you along the way. So if you need translated instructions, all you need to do is click on he's stuck on the wire. The wire's going across and I can't figure out how to get over it. Okay. All you need to do is go to these boxes, click the language that you need. Come here, and it'll bring you to those instructions. All right, so let's go over this activity. So the text. You can find the excerpt from The Outsiders here. See how my pointer turned into a Mickey Mouse hand? That means that there's a link. You're going to click that link. The text is going to pop up. The text is told from the perspective of the main character, Ponyboy. So remember, main character means he's pretty important. So Ponyboy and Johnny are members of a local gang called the Greasers. The Greasers are from the east side, or the poor side of town, and are known for their long, greasy hair. In the scene found at the start of the text, Ponyboy recalls finding Johnny after he had been jumped by some Socs, their rival gang. Watch the video on the right to hear a recap of the plot of the full novel in order to get more context for today's reading. So I'm going to watch the video with you. I'm going to stop it if I feel like I need to stop and explain something, okay?
This is a story about three brothers who live with each other after their parents were killed in an accident.
All right, so right off the bat, they're related. They have gone through some trauma, okay? So make sure that we're thinking about that.
Harry is the oldest and works as a roofer. Soda Pop is the middle child who is handsome and works at a gas station, and Pony Boy is the youngest, a smart kid trying to grow up. The town they live in is socially divided in two. The Greasers are the poor kids who wear leather jackets and oil their hair. The Socials, or the Socias, are the rich kids who have nice cars and clothes.
Again, so now we have a socioeconomic divide, which means that there is a divide between rich and poor. So it's another thing that we want to think about when we're reading through this. That socioeconomic divide really makes a difference in the way the characters interact with each other.
These two groups are constantly fighting each other. The three brothers are greasers and hang out with some of the other greasers in the city, such as Dallas, a wild New Yorker who hates the authority, and Johnny, a quiet kid who gets beat up by his father. After meeting a couple of Soch girls, Ponyboy and Johnny get attacked by a group of Soches. Ponyboy is about to die in the fight, but Johnny stabs one of them, and the rest run. In a panic, Ponyboy and Johnny run to the countryside and hide. Ponyboy and Johnny stay at an abandoned church in the countryside until Dallas comes to get them. However, the church they're staying at catches on fire, and some of the local kids are trapped in the building. Ponyboy and Johnny go into the burning building and rescue them, but both are hurt. They are admitted to a hospital where they are declared heroes. Meanwhile, the Socials and Greasers are planning a big rumble to settle things. Both gangs line up and fight each other. The Greasers win. However, Johnny dies from his injuries from the fire, and Dallas gets himself shot by the police. Ponyboy is acquitted of all charges for the slaying of the one Soch, and the three brothers grow close together. The underlying theme of social class and the division that social classes create is important. This isn't quite the Capulet and Montague setup we get in Romeo and Juliet, but it's something more relatable to contemporary readers. Money does divide people. Poor people tend to live in a certain part of an area while the rich people live in another. The story tries to present the troubled relationship between Ponyboy and Derry as the central conflict, that these two brothers hate each other. However, readers will find that his conflict with Derry is pretty weak and forced. Rather, Ponyboy's realization that both Greasers and Soches are just regular people is noteworthy. This is something that all readers can take away, no matter. All right, this person's talking a little fast, so I want to slow it down. So I think what they're trying to say here is the biggest conflict here that they see is the divide between the two socioeconomic groups, the rich and the poor. And I think at the end, what they're noticing here is that we are not rich and poor. We are all human beings, and we should be able to coexist. So again, this guy's talking pretty fast, so I'm trying to slow it down as much as possible. No matter what age. Society likes to classify who we are and categorize us into groups. And while those groups may be important in economic and census studies, the people in those groups become identityless. All right, so that was a very, very, very quick recap of the entire story. So I'm going to go through the activity, keep that information in mind, the socioeconomic status thing that we talked about, keep those things in mind. All right, so language focus. For each of the words below in the week's text, you are going to determine how well you already know each word. Type an X in the column that best represents how well you know and understand that term. And for the words that you marked know it well, which means you understand the word and can explain it, write a definition or give an example in the last column. So if you write no idea, I think you are going to leave these parts blank. So no idea, leave it blank. It's familiar, leave it blank. I know it well, write a definition. All right? So you are going to, in each box, insert an image from Google that shows the meaning of the word. So rebellious, you can go on Google, look up the word rebellious, and then you will see images. Which one? Actually, what I would suggest is that you look up the definition for the words first, especially if you have no idea what they mean. So I would look up the definition, read it, or have it read aloud to you by your computer, and then you can look at the images. When you choose those images, keep that definition in mind. Which one of those images really, really shows me what rebellious means? The thing here is a lot of images that you're going to get from looking up rebellious. Look, I'll even show you. So if you type in Google, so you're on Google and you type in the word rebellious, it's going to pop up, and you're going to click images.
but it's gonna like have things like this, like rebellious, and some of these aren't necessarily like that's a fashion hall, which I'm really hoping that you guys don't put in there. Like that's a fashion hall. Like apparently rebellious is a clothing line. So we want to make sure that we are aware of what the word rebellious means before we start looking for those images, because I don't want pictures of a fashion hall in here. Okay. So rebellious.
Rebellious. Rebellious.
Oh, it just says the word. Adjective. Knowing a desire to resist authority, control, or convention. We have used the word rebellious in class multiple times. So this is something that we should be aware of, or we should have at least heard in the past. That's not it. There we go. So you're going to do the same thing for all the other words. Look up the definition first, because there could be a clothing line named Humble. Who knows, right? Okay. So today's text opens with a description of the character Johnny, a greaser, after he was jumped by the Socias. After reading the full text, linked here, so they link it for you twice, so there's really no excuse to not know where it is, you will return to the first 7 paragraphs and complete an analysis of Johnny, using the tools of indirect characterization. You will use the acronym STEAL to help you develop your analysis of Johnny's character. Answer the questions on the slides that follow using the acronym explained below as a guide. So we actually went through STEAL last week. Speech, what does the character say? How does the character speak? When we are thinking about the fact that there's a socioeconomic divide, think about the difference in speech there, okay? Thoughts, what is revealed through the character's private thoughts or feelings. Sometimes these are not very obvious. They're not always going to be like, Johnny thought, and then type in his actual thoughts going through his head. That's not always going to be what it is. So sometimes you have to read into this. Effect on others toward the character. What is revealed through the character's effect on other people? How do characters feel or behave in reaction to the character? These are gangsters, so you need to be able to think about, like, are they intimidating to other people? Are they not intimidating to other people? If they are gangsters and they are not intimidating to other people, that's a big tell of their character, right? Actions. What does the character do and how does the character behave? That's pretty self-explanatory. Looks. What does the character look like and how does the character dress? Again, big thing with socioeconomic divide here. Characters who are in a richer and a poorer circumstance, they definitely dress different, okay? So this is going to be that extra help slide. So it gave you a excerpt from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and then it's going to ask, or it's going to show you the different things that they put in here according to the character Greg in this excerpt. So what you're going to do is you're going to watch that video. I don't have time to watch the whole thing, but you're going to watch the video and you're going to look through this as an example so that you know exactly what you're going to do in the coming slides. Speech. What does Johnny say? What does his speech tell the reader about his character? Use evidence from the text. What that means is there needs to be quotes. There needs to be quotes, okay? So you need to make sure that you are giving specific quotes from the text to provide evidence to support what you are saying, okay? Oh gosh, I went through everything. Okay, thoughts. Because the text is written from the perspective of Ponyboy, the reader cannot know what Johnny is thinking. However, in paragraph 7, Ponyboy offers some insight into Johnny's thoughts. So, perfect. Like I said, it's not always going to be obvious. So this is actually telling you specifically where to look to find Johnny's thoughts. Read paragraph 7 and make an inference as to what Johnny was thinking after his attack. What does this tell the reader about his character? Again, quotes. Effect on others. How did the other characters react to Johnny in these first 7 paragraphs? How do they feel about him? What does this tell the reader about his character? Use evidence from the text. What does Johnny do in these first 7 paragraphs? How does he act? What does this tell the reader about his character? Use evidence from the text. Focus on the character's physical appearance in this excerpt. What does the reader know about Johnny's looks? What just happened to him? That's your hint. What does this tell the reader about his character and the lifestyle that he leads? Use evidence from the text. I'm running out of time, so this might have to be a part 2. So I'm going to slow down because I feel like I'm rushing myself because I'm trying to get through this in one. But, you can watch 2 videos of me today, right?